Hi there, I'm Bea, a mixed media artist. Join me as I explore art and creativity, one project at a time. Hello and welcome back to another video. And in case you are new here, I'm glad you are here. I hope you are all doing well. As you have seen in the intro already, it is about the flip through this journal, which is a trash to treasure journal, or a junk journal, or an art journal, or a sketchbook, or whatever you want to call it. Now the theme for this journal is nature, flowers, botanicals, plants, something along those lines mostly. There are other pages, but mostly it's about botanicals, flowers and plants. Now I'm gonna zoom in and switch camera, and then we start with our flip through. Okay, let's dive into our flip through. The closer is made up from fabric strips, which has some printed flowers on it. I thought they fit the theme. And then the front cover is different collage pieces from magazines. This is from junk mail, and this I had to write on some scrap piece of paper. Komm in dein Garten, come into your garden. I also added some stamping with a hand-carved stamp, and I have glued together 2 pages just to make it a little bit sturdy. And then just for embellishment, not really for stability, I did add some stitching here with the blanket stitch and with the running stitch. The spine is made from a single piece of fabric, and I did use a pamphlet stitch. There are 2 signatures, as you can see here, and the back side is the same. A little bit of collage and some stamping, and the stitching with embroidery thread. Now the inside cover, the base was a book page, then I added a nice picture from a magazine, a little bit of handmade paper, and this flower is actually a real flower from our garden, which I have pressed. Not sure how long it keeps it that way, but hey, it is not meant for centuries. Now on this page I did use one of those seed packages to turn it into a pocket, just covered up what I didn't like the price and the explanation how to use the seeds, and made a tag from a collage which I didn't like, and I added some jelly print on the back side. Those are embellishments I made with watercolor and a pen, and this is from a try of AI generated images. I'm going to talk about that more later. I added some stitching to this page and one of my clusters. And this page is pretty simple. I had this background, the book page, then I added some distress ink to make it a little bit colorful. Added this image, which I had since a while, I think at least 10 years in my stash for magazine pieces, too nice to throw out. So I finally did find a place for this. I think it was from one of those Stampington magazines. I look in magazines also for parts where there are solid colors, so then that I can make those sort of embellishments. So I did cut out this zigzag thingy just to add something. The background is a fashion catalog, which I did use just as it is, just did gesso it slightly and added from another magazine a head to this blouse. The top is from like 2 years ago. I was thinking, I should try out AI generated pieces, images, papers, but I just don't feel comfortable. I always have the feeling I'm helping AI stealing artwork. That's what I wanted to say. And then here I added one of my clusters, which I let peek out. I like if things peek out on the sides and at the top. This was a jelly print, a botanical jelly print with one of my stencils. I'm gonna have new stencils pretty soon for October 1st, where I'll launch my new products, 2 stencils, a stamp set and collage papers. Amongst those stencils there are also some nice botanical stencils, just saying. Just added a sketch of a girl with purely graphite pencil. This is a quote I did print on fabric. I do have a whole sheet of printed fabric quotes. I just use my computer to print those. Kleine Schätze aus meinem Garten, little treasures from my garden. We do have this foxglove, Fingerhut in German, and we do have the maple in our garden. I just did make a little sketch with gouache. I did use gouache here. Again, something I did draw and paint. I think it was wax crayon. Yeah, it feels really waxy. The water-soluble wax crayons, and then I did find in a magazine a little bee. I just thought fits the theme. This is one of my jelly prints where I did make my own masks and did print. Yeah, and then I just added it to the page. Somebody did send me in a happy mail, sorry, can't talk today, in a happy mail a lot of words and parts of sentences, and I just thought, yeah, I'm gonna use that. If you look the right way, let's start again. If you look the right way, you can see that the whole world is a garden. This is by Frances Hodgson Burnett. That is what the page actually was. I do use 2 types of magazines. I do have a garden magazine which is printed on recycling paper, and I do have Gudrun Sjöden which is printed on recycling paper. I do like the recycling paper because it is a matte paper, it takes color well, and it is not so shiny glossy. So that's my main papers I use for making art journals. I do use other magazine pages, other magazine images when I want a specific image, but not as a base for a magazine. From my own work I did print, you barely can see it. Let's, maybe something like that, yeah. It's a face I did draw, and I did print it like this one over here on those transparent printable adhesive sheets. They were from Avery. You can find those. So it gives a see-through. In 23 I made the 100-day challenge over on Instagram, and I did draw and paint 100 crows, magpies and ravens. And I used those images to make my own collage pieces. That is from one of my stencils. Now this page is more or less how it was. It is, as I said, a garden magazine. I just added this cluster here. Then here from packaging it says Trouvaille, which means findings. And then, as I mentioned before, my girl. This is one of the pages that's not really garden related, but I just felt like I want to sketch with graphite and make a little portrait. From time to time I have the feeling I want to do portraits, but mostly I do cute girls. Anyway, this page again is from the Garden magazine, where they did show those micro photos, what the structure of the things look like, and they're really beautiful. So I added a little pocket here, and then this is from my mermaid collection, a tag, and a little cluster again, which I thought it fit well because of the purple which is in here everywhere, and the green from the hair from the mermaid fits well with that. Again, the same page. I didn't do a lot, just added my cluster. Again, this is printed on those transparent self-adhesive foils, and then that's from a magazine, Kunstwerke, Artworks. Here I was playing with distressing stamps and sketching and made those flower with, I did add some, I have seen it somewhere, a video where somebody did that, but I don't remember who it was. It's not my original idea, but I like the effect. I also added some laces and a little bit of fabric and again a little piece of handmade paper. Here I felt like I just want to sketch. It was plain text underneath, which I did cover up with a little bit with gesso, and then just started sketching with pencil, outlining with a micro pen, and then put color in just as I felt. Background and the lady is from my mermaid collection, and this is obviously from a magazine, from a fashion magazine. It is from Gudrun Sjöden, so I did combine them for a fun collage. Here I felt like I want to make a cat, rather round cat with flowers on it. I remember having as kid a porcelain cat with flowers on it, but I don't know where she is. She probably ended up in the dump. I don't remember where that was probably the starting point for me doing that. That is one of those jelly print transfers I made, but in the end I didn't know what to do with it, so I added it because I don't know whether you can see it, but it is a flower bouquet, so I added it to this page. Now when I do my collections, I do draw and paint those things in, and then I have all those little A4 pages. I do it mostly on watercolor paper. That's watercolor on watercolor paper. So in the end I don't know what to do with those things which I turn into collage paper. So I did cut it out and made a little Unterwassergarten and under the sea garden. I also added the washi stickers from the mermaid collection, one of my stamps, and the background is a peony from a magazine, which is actually this time from a more glossy magazine. Yeah, it's more glossy. Anyway, I do love those open peonies. We do have like 2 of them, but one is with the really golden stamens, so yeah. Here I felt again drawing, not a portrait this time, more like a whimsical, quirky portrait. Added some dyed gauze and Fly in the Rain with Me. This was a text page. I just did add some color. I also used some jelly print for the vase. This is another paper I had in my stash, and then I did add the flowers, more on the abstract side. In the background there is already a botanical print with one of my stencils, and then I added by drawing using gouache and my Nero Soft, the oil-based charcoal, and just made this Botanical. That's again not really garden, but I just had the feeling I want to do something with that. That's again from a fashion magazine, and in the background just did gesso out the background and added those dots, and then added the quote, "In a world of polka dots, find your stripes. It's what makes you special." I think that's a nice quote. Well, that is one of those pages where you throw everything on it. That's rather busy here, but I'm fine with that from time to time. That's again a background. Sometimes when I do work and I have a nice background, I make pictures and use them later as collage papers. So washi tape, pieces from my washi stickers, that's just a printed version from my background, and that's actually the page in the background. And the quote says, "One small positive thought can change your whole day. Ein positiver Gedanke kann deinen ganzen Tag verändern." Elegante Mohnblumen, elegant poppy flowers. So this is a tryout for a stencil, but I didn't like it. I didn't turn it in a stencil. I sometimes just do like 2 or 3 pieces hand carved, but I just didn't like it, so it's not gonna be a stencil. This is from our Garten poppy, which I did print on those little thermo printers. I do use a HP Sprocket, but there are other brands out there. They also do those little photos. They are fun. Well, this is one of the pages. I didn't do anything. I just left it as it is, just a plain page. And it was, by the way, from a glossy magazine. I don't know whether you can see it. It is more glossy than the others. And it says, süchtig nach grün, addicted to green. I thought it is so perfect, I don't do anything here. Then here did sketch again. It was in spring, so I did look for spring flowers. And this is a transfer from magazine Frühling schmecken, taste spring, just so it fits well. Here I have made a background with some of the stencils, and then I added in pink another stencil which is still available, and I had this little poem. Rain lingers in my heart, earth clings to my bones and flowers bloom inside my soul. Regen verweilt in meinem Herzen, Erde haftet an meinen Knochen und Blumen blühen in meiner Seele. Yep. Now the next page is, you can see it in the background, there was text here. I did cover it up a little bit with gesso and then added some sort of rose flowers. Now this is something I did at the art journal retreat back in August. There's going to be another art journal retreat next year, so follow me if you don't want to miss that. It is a live event. So I did a transfer again from my crows, raven and magpies for the 100-day challenge in 23. I hope next year I can participate in the 100-day challenge again. I didn't do it this year. Yeah. Here I felt like doing a bird with some of my collage papers and added a little bit of flower from sort of a Japanese paper. Used the red button for the middle, and for the eye I used the darker button. I also did embroidery again a little bit. These are some collage papers from my stash. Musical sheet. Thought fits well to a bird. And this is, I don't know where I have it from. I have it since a while. This is again, whether you can see it really properly. Yeah, here we go. This is again one of those transfer jelly prints I made with purple, and I just did add a little bit on the background page and then added the quote, "The Violet Hour." Now this is either already on Instagram as reel and as short on YouTube, or it will be soon. I'm not sure now. I did start with a stencil and different greens where I did add, and then I did negative painting. I did sketching my plant and my pot and my table, and then did gesso around the areas where I didn't want the background, and blue around the area where the pot isn't, and those things. Those are fun new things. That's actually a recent work here. So I did find at the thrift store some letters, and so now that might be fun for, I mean, they are self-adhesive. So yeah. Here I felt like drawing apples. If I look straight out of my window, the neighbor has an apple tree with really nice red apples. That's what make me drawing apples. They are not ripe yet, but they are red at least. That's a fun page too. Now it actually was, this pattern was on the page, and I did again negative painting. I just covered up everything which I didn't want to have as a teapot. And then I added the quote, "Come in and let us have some tea." The quote, this is from a magazine. This is from a magazine also. There are different magazines I did use, and I made a tab from one of it, and the rest I just put it here. This is a copy from one of my paintings. This is a sketch I made lately. Maybe I should turn her in a stamp at one point. I made a copy from the sketch, and then I did color in, and in short, I'm happy. And here you get a little sneak peek for my October 1st launch of my new products. Is one of the stencil I have used, and then if you use the stencil, you usually have paint on the stencil itself, so that's what I used to print this version, so you get the reverse. I first have added some colors on the background, and then I had that already, and then I just did turn my stencil and press the rest of it onto the page. So don't miss my launch with my new stencils and stamps and collage papers on October 1st. There will be a blog post on October 1st and a video from Marie, my design team member, and on Friday I will introduce all the bits and pieces from my new collection. This one, as you guessed, was already here. Then I added some dots, and I did cover up everything I didn't want, and did add the quote, "Without art, the crudeness of reality would make the world unbearable." And I thought it fits because she has this leaf over on her head. This is things from my garden. Made my first lavender bouquet from my own garden. So since we moved in, we didn't have lavender in the first year, but now in the second year we have quite a nice big plant of lavender. I like it. So these are real lavenders, which I just added with the gel mat and covered with gel mat, hoping it stays the way it is. But I also did draw a little bit, because when you press those flowers, they usually lose color a little bit. I also made a tab again with one of my clusters. Then the chicken, yeah, it was a drawing painting which floated around in my studio, and I just added it to this page. And this is the last page. I just added a nice image of geranium. Okay, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you soon again. Take care. Bye.